Yeah, so today I just wanted to talk briefly about um, why world issues like racism and the sustainability crisis right now and other major world issues um, are not really matters of they're not really matters of morality. They're not matters of good and bad, but rather they're actually matters of true and false. And this is the whole premise that I have here at Truth Embodiment is that um, you know, I see often that in equality discourses, anti-racism, decolonization, even that these issues tend to be approached through the lens of um, some kind of moral call to justice, or duty to moralism. In that sense, like we treat anti-racism as a matter of morality, and even the term anti-racism, I try to actually avoid that sometimes, because I'm anti-racist. That implies in it a sort of morality, right? A sort of, well, anti means we're against racism because racism is bad, right? Or we don't want racism, or whatever the case, right? It's treated in a sort of subjective, sort of moralistic sense, but ultimately these issues don't, like, we don't need moralism to support these issues. And in fact, moralism actually ends up corrupting these issues and turning them into matters of belief, right? And in fact, I'd actually argue that that cheapens anti-racism, for a simple fact that, let me put it this way, um, equality, right, doesn't need to be believed in to be equality. You know, I'm not decolonizing because I believe in equality. I'm doing so because equality is the truth. All right, equality is already the truth. There is no, like, the default state of the whole world is already equality. I'm not saying that everyone's treated with equality already. No, we're treated with inequality because we live in a racist world. We live in an inequitable world that divides us in all kinds of ways into all kinds of superiority and inferiority type groups. All right, but what I'm saying is that if we look at the situation and um, we actually take away all human ideology and belief and opinion and social construction that underlies inequality, right? There actually is nothing there but neutrality. In other words, it's already equal, because we can't actually have inequality if we don't socially construct with our minds, right, the idea of superiority and inferiority, and ascribe those characteristics and those values onto groups that we define arbitrarily anyway, if that makes sense, right? So there actually is no inequality is nothing but a human construction in the mind. There is no inequality in nature. Nature is already equal because it requires a human thought to actually divide up nature. That's already one thing, and say, oh, this thing, white people are superior to other races because they created civilization, or they created the modern world, or whatever. These types of absurd ideas are only there because white supremacists have gone and claimed that civilization and a modern world is something that is a signifier of superiority. But that's just an ideology. It's an ideology in the head. It's a belief. It's not real. You take away the belief and the ideology, there's nothing left. There is no inequality underneath that ideology. That ideology created inequality, and then it became institutionalized into our societal framework, and now we have inequality in the world today. That's how it works. And so what I'm saying here is that when we take, like, anti-racism or equality discourses or racial justice or whatever we want to call it, right, and we boil it down to a matter of morals and say, oh, it's my moral duty to do this, or what have you, what it actually does is I think it cheapens that, because it essentially posits that equality only has value, or only has substance, or only has meaning because we believe in it, not because it's already true, right? If that makes sense. Like, equality in that sense, we give equality power, right? We give equality meaning, when equality doesn't need to be ascribed meaning and value and morality and good and bad. Equality is already the truth. It's already there. It's already here. Equality is already there when we take away the ideology, and we take away the social construction, we take away the fallacies that have been put over top of reality, right? We take that stuff away and everything's already equality. Same thing goes for our world with sustainability issues, right? The only reason why we've destroyed the planet to the extent we have, and that our world today is heading on a crash course with collapse, literally speaking, and that's not an exaggeration, that's quite literally what's happening. The only reason why that's happening is the same reason that ideology, right, has created, ideology and social construction has enabled the human population of the world through this civilization that is built on all these false constructs to destroy things, to destroy the world, essentially. But, you know, I don't have to come here and say, oh, it's bad to destroy the environment. I say it's just not true to destroy the environment. Why? Because destroying the environment is predicated on what? Why are we destroying the environment? We're only doing that because it's predicated on the ideology, right, of growth and progress, right, and development and civilization and the future, money, the economy, ownership, right? All these types of things that aren't real at the end of the day. All these things that are constructed entirely out of the human mind, right? Progress is an ideology. It's not real. What's all this predicated on? What, that humans are superior to nature? Again, equality is already the truth. Humans are a part of nature. Humans are equal with the rest of nature, right? It's the social construction of money as just a piece of paper, right? Ownership, more paper. It's not real. It's human imagination, social construction. All of these false constructs have enabled the world, have enabled human beings to destroy the world. But it's not possible without these false constructs. If it really comes down to that, we don't need to say, you know, it's bad to destroy the world, you know, it's immoral, you know, like, I'm not going to tell people not to say things that way, not to see it that way or whatever, but I'm just saying that I think the most direct approach to dealing with these types of issues is to not look at them through the lens of good and bad, because good and bad is a subjective thing. Someone else's good is someone else's bad, and someone's bad is someone else's good. It's not concrete. You can't logically break that down and say this is objectively that by looking at it that way. What I'm saying is, if we look at it objectively and logically and just say, look, you know, the world's being destroyed because of human ideology and human construction that is rooted in completely false things that aren't real, right? You know, the economy, all these things, you know, money, ownership, none of that's real, right? And if we look at that, we could say that our world is actually embodying unreality. It's embodying falseness, right? That's what we're doing when we do that. We're embodying things that aren't real, social constructs and fake things. Because our entire world, all these world issues, I'm just using examples here. The sustainability crisis, racism, inequality, poverty, war, all these issues only exist because of these social constructs at the end of the day. Racism exists because of constructs over superior and inferior racial groups, right? Same thing could go for any other form of inequality, right? We just invent ideas that, you know, this way is superior to that way, this person's superior to that. It's not real. Only in the human mind where we ascribe value to things does that actually mean anything. Take away the thoughts, take away the beliefs and the ideology, and none of that's there. It's just inherently default neutral. And the same thing goes with all these other issues. So I'm saying this is the kind of the premise here with truth embodiment, is that we don't, the point is not to it's not to just to take stances on these issues in a moralistic way, you know, like you know, I don't go and look at these issues and say, oh well, you know, such and such is bad or such and such is whatever. I say the ontological outcome of this situation is blah blah blah, destruction, inequality, whatever. Because that's all what we really need to do. We don't need it. It's entirely superfluous to have all these good and bad ideologies here. It's just simply unnecessary, and we don't need it. So yeah. Anyways, that's I hope I kind of introduced this fairly quickly here. Anyway, that's basically the premise here of truth embodiment. Instead of embodying these false things, these false social constructs and ideologies that are rooted in nothing, instead we embody what's already true, which is what's there when we take away all that stuff, right? Underneath of it all, equality is already the truth. We embody that, right? Underneath it all, humans are already a part of the ecosystem, and we're dependent on the ecosystem. That's a fact. That's just the truth underneath it. And we embody that reality. If we were to embody that reality from the very beginning of humankind, we would never have created civilization and created inequality and all these problems we have. It just would never have happened. So somewhere in the course of human history, we've veered off that path into fallacy. It's as simple as that. It's a matter of true and false. That's really what all these issues come down to at the end of the day.